My name is Brittany Sullivan, and I'll be discussing the U.S.-Mexico border crisis. Overview. The U.S.-Mexico crisis can be categorized as a complex socioeconomic and political event involving issues such as immigration policy, trade regulations, and humanitarian concerns. It is not a single event like a trade war or energy crisis. The United States and Mexico are key trading partners. The disruptions at the border can lead to delays and increased costs that will affect supply chains globally, can affect trade flows and economic stability in both regions. And with many industries relying on migrant labor, can lead to labor shortages, which will impact productivity and U.S. business operations. One of the biggest impacts worldwide is supply chain disruptions. Businesses reliant on cross-border trade face challenges due to increased wait times and stricter inspections. This can lead to inventory shortages and increased costs, which will affect companies in both the United States and Mexico, as well as other countries that rely on these supply chains. Another big impact is the political and economic instability at the border, which can deter foreign investments. According to the United States Census Bureau, in 2022, the United States imported goods worth approximately $400 billion from Mexico, highlighting the critical nature of this trade relationship. A report by Wilson Center noted that delays at the border can cost the United States economy up to $5.3 billion annually in lost productivity and increased cost. Foreign policy and business impact. The United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, which replaced NAFTA, plays a significant role in shaping economic relations between the United States and Mexico. It impacts labor standards, environmental regulations, and intellectual property rights, influencing migration patterns and economic stability in the region. The United States has occasionally imposed tariffs on Mexican goods to address trade imbalances or as leverage in negotiations. These tariffs can affect the economic condition in Mexico, potentially influencing migration as individuals seek better opportunities in the United States. Businesses are increasingly diversifying their supply chains to mitigate risk associated with tariffs and disruptions. Companies may shift production to other countries or increase domestic manufacturing to avoid potential tariffs. Businesses are investing in compliance measures to adhere to the new regulations under USMCA, ensuring they meet labor and environmental standards. Are there ethical or political risks involved? The border crisis often involves ethical issues related to the treatment of migrants, including detention conditions and family separations. These practices can lead to international criticism and affect diplomatic relations. The crisis can exacerbate political tensions between the United States and Mexico, influencing bilateral relations and cooperation on other big issues like drug trafficking and security. Policies that disproportionately affect certain industries or regions can exacerbate economic inequality, leading to social unrest and further migration pressures. Case study. One industry significantly affected by the United States-Mexico border crisis is the agricultural industry. This sector relies heavily on migrant labor, much of which comes from Mexico and other Latin American countries. The border crisis can disrupt the flow of labor, affecting the availability of workers needed for planting, tending, and harvesting crops. Companies within the agricultural industry have responded to these challenges in several ways. For instance, some have increased their investment in automation and technology to reduce their dependency on manual labor. This would include the use of machinery for planting and harvesting, as well as advanced irrigation systems to improve efficiency. Some companies have started to diversify their labor sources by recruiting workers from other regions or countries to mitigate the impact of labor shortages due to the border crisis. Many agricultural companies and associations have engaged in advocacy efforts, pushing for immigration reform and policies that ensure a stable and legal workforce. This includes supporting guest worker programs that allow for temporary labor migration. Business strategy and my recommendations. Businesses should diversify their supply chains to reduce dependency on cross border logistics. This can involve sourcing materials from multiple countries or regions to avoid disruptions caused by border issues. They can develop and regularly update crisis management plans that include scenarios related to border disruptions. Businesses should invest in technology solutions that enhance supply chain efficiency and transparency. Technologies like blockchain help track goods and ensure smooth cross border transactions. With the potential for labor shortages, businesses can invest in training programs to upskill local workers, thereby reducing reliance on cross border labor. Business leaders should actively engage with policymakers to advocate for stable and predictable trade policies. This can help create a more favorable business environment. They should also implement CSR initiatives that support border communities. This can improve brand reputation, foster goodwill among local populations. They can conduct thorough market analysis to identify emerging trends and consumer needs in border regions. This can guide product development and marketing strategies. Conclusion. In conclusion, addressing the United States and Mexico border crisis requires a nuanced approach that considers the interconnectedness of foreign policy, economic strategy, and international business operations. Policymakers must strive for solutions that enhance security while promoting economic growth and respecting humanitarian principles. And addressing the United States Mexico border crisis, it is imperative to adopt a holistic approach that balances security, economic growth, and humanitarian values. By fostering collaboration between governments and international